Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you've been fine. Please, if you're new, remember to subscribe, like and comment, and also share. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much. You can also comment on the progress of my videos. So today we are going to discuss on footing. Footing. What is footing? So footing is done after doing blinding. After the trench is excavated, you do blinding, then you do footing. So you have to know what is footing first. In many occasions, you can get a contractor may decide to omit blinding and use footing for blinding. Yeah, so it is not a must that you must use footing and blinding. Footing is also known as concrete in foundation, and the definition of footing: footing is a structural member which is used to support columns and walls, and it transmits and distributes the load to the soil in such a way that the load bearing capacity of the soil is not exceeded. So footing is just made up of concrete. That's why it is called foundation in concrete. Yeah. So footing helps in various things. When you are constructing a building where there is excessive settlement, footing helps in reducing settlement, because footing is just like a binder. It binds binds the ground together so that it may not suffer settlement. It also helps when there is high rotation on the ground. Maybe you've constructed your building in a place where the bearing capacity of that ground is not that stable. Maybe it is affected by mining works, or it is affected by heavy loads which are passing around that place. Footing will help that ground to be stable, and hence it helps in various things. Even overturning, sliding is also maintained in footing. So there are various types of footing. The first footing is wall footings. Wall footings are used where walls are to be erected on top of it, structural walls, yeah. And the structural walls are the ones which carries the loads from the roof. They carry the loads from the roof. Like for this, the structural wall, you can see in my diagram there. My structural wall, on top of it, there will be a slab, a concrete slab, and the concrete slab will take the load to the structural wall, which will therefore take its load, submit its load to the footing, and footing will submit the load to the hard ground, or the ground. Then the next type of footing is isolated or single footings. This one is used where columns is isolated. Maybe when you want to construct things like shades in the market, you'll use or towers. Yeah, or towers. You'll use your footing will not be continuous. You'll use isolated footings. So it will depend on the size that you have been given in the architectural or structural drawing. So we have distribution of soil pressures. How is the soil pressure distributed on footing? Yeah, when the column load P is applied on the center of the footing, a uniform pressure is assumed to develop on the soil surface below the footing area. However, actual distribution of the soil is not uniform, but depends on the factors, especially the composition of the soil and the degree of flexibility of footing. So the soil pressures is directly to the footing on a uniform basis. Yeah, it neither affects it from one corner. It affects the entire footing. That's why it is stable. That's why the footing makes the building stable. So another type of footing is a continuous footing. Continuous footing. When you are to erect columns, various columns, majorly continuous footing is the one which is always being used. Continuous footings does not have breakages, yeah, or cuts. It is just continuous as the name depicts, and it is used where the columns are not isolated, and you can use it also for wall footings. You can also use continuous footing. As you can see, the support continuous footing supports a row of 3 or more columns. They have limited width and continue under all columns. That is continuous footing. The width of footing depends on the one which you've been given. Majorly it is always 600, the width of footing, but the length of footing is the mean girth of your trench. The next one is pile caps. Pile cap is also a type of footing. Pile caps is used where the your foundation is erected in a swampy area, where the ground, a stable ground, is attained at a deep in the ground, yeah, or at a depth that is much below. You use piles. Then after using piles, you'll then erect footing on top of the piles. It's like suspended, yeah, on top of the pile, as you can see in the diagram there. So you can see the thick slabs used to tie group of piles together to support and transmit column loads to the piles. Therefore, the piles will transmit the loads that are from footing to the load is taken from the column, from slab. Slab transmits the load to the column. Then the column transmits the load to the footing. Then the footing transmits the load to the piles. Therefore, the piles will finally transmit the load to the hard ground or the bearing capacity. Then we have the rafted or mat foundation. That is also a type of footing. It is like a slab. Yeah, it is like a slab. It consists of one footing usually placed under the entire building area. They are used when the soil bearing capacity is low. So in a place where the bearing capacity of that soil is much lower, you use mat or rafted foundation. It will help in the stability of that building, because the bearing capacity of that soil will be poor. You'll therefore use that. Yeah, they are used when the bearing capacity is low, just as I have said. Column loads are heavy. Single footing cannot be used. Where the column loads are also heavy, the single footings cannot be used. Then piles are not used. Remember, piles are used where the bearing capacity is not that good, or places like swampy areas. You can use piles, or you can decide to use mat foundation. Then the next one is the cantilever or straps footing. Cantilever or straps footings. This one it is joining two. You use a strap to join two footings. You can majorly use this when you want to save on materials to be used. It consists of two footings connected with a beam or a strap, and support two single columns. This type replaces a combined footing and is more economical. Yeah, it's more economical, to mean that it will save you on the material and the labor that is to be used. Yeah, so that is how it is done. Then the next one, the combined footings usually support two columns or three columns not in a row. Combined footings are used when two columns are so close that single footings cannot be used, and when one column is located at or near a property line. So combined footing is that which you are seeing in the diagram. This is the plan as it is written, and that's the elevation. Then that is the distribution of soil pressures. We have the soil pressure distribution in cohesionless soil and soil pressure distribution in cohesive soil. You can see the difference. Okay, design consideration. Footings must be designed to carry the column loads and transmit them to the soil safety while satisfying code limitations. So there are various considerations that are put in place when you want to erect footing. The first one is the bearing capacity of the column at their bases. Then the next one, the dowel requirements. Then you have the development length of bars, then differential settlement. So those are the considerations. You can have as much consideration as you may have, provided that they are relevant. So that is that. That is all about footing. Footing works. Footing is just a part of foundation. It is under substructures work. When you are grouping your works, footings is found under substructures work, and it is following blinding in the order where, like for measurement. When you are preparing a checklist, you'll begin with the just if I may brush. When you are preparing checklist, you begin with the site clearance, then you have excavation of the top vegetable soil, then you have excavation to reduce level, then you have excavation of trenches. Then after excavation of trenches, you have blinding or concrete blinding. Then after concrete blinding is when you have footing or concrete in foundation. Yeah, so that is where footing lies. So remember, footing carries columns, footing carries the walls, the structural walls that we have just said, and footing transmits the loads of the building to either blinding if there is, or to the ground or the hard ground that is bearing the loads of that building. So that is that for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember supporting me by subscribing. Don't leave this video before subscribing. Like, share and comment, and may God bless you.